People living in cars. What's going on? Stick around, I'll fill you in. In today's world, economic instability is a reality that many of us are facing. With skyrocketing housing prices, expensive groceries, and crippling inflation, more people are exploring unconventional solutions to either save money or simply avoid being homeless. Living in your car has become a more common reality for many of us Americans. Many Americans are choosing this lifestyle in response to long commutes, high rent, and overall financial strain. Life is pretty tough right now in the States. Whether you're struggling with rising cost of living, looking for ways to reduce expenses, this video is going to shed some light on people living in cars.
I brought a comforter, a blanket to put over me, and a pillow. That was it. I made sure that I parked my car, yes, in a corner that was dark, but also close to a door at least, so that I can always run to the bathroom when I need to. And that did happen a lot. I would bring a bag of clothes, my scrubs I need to wear for the incoming shift, and some clothes. Sometimes I was doing 3 days straight, so I would just bring all of my clothes with me, and I was sleeping in my car.
I really debated making this post or not, but I am so burnt out from living in a van. Today I'm gonna de-influence you. These are the things that are genuinely so on my nerves. If I have to do one more time, I'm gonna lose my mind. Starting off strong is finding a place to sleep every night. Security guards will knock on your van in the middle of the night and tell you that you have to move, or like last night, they'll just give you a ticket. I have to find a new place to sleep tonight. The second one is that everything just takes way longer than it should. I have to drive to a gym to shower. The closest gym to me right now is 20 minutes away. For me to go shower, that takes me an hour. If I wanna do laundry, I can't just like throw in my laundry and then go for a run. I have to go to the laundromat. I have to sit and wait for it to be done. Number 3, and this is one that didn't start to bother me until this year, and that is that my van is never the right temperature. I do not have AC, and I would say my heater is like broken half the time. Like yesterday, I went to shower and then I went to the grocery store and I came back and I'm putting my groceries away and I'm dripping sweat after I just spent an hour going to shower. I can't just comfortably hang out in my space. Like I have to go somewhere else, or I have to spend my time outside. Even if I just want to like cuddle up in bed and read my book, I can't do it because it's unbearably hot in here. Or in the winter, like if my heater breaks while I'm skiing or whatever, unbearably cold, and it's so hard for me to get out of bed in the morning. Number 4 is that I don't have unlimited of my basic amenities. My power comes from solar or from driving. Right now it's gloomy outside and I didn't have plans to drive a ton of places today, so I have to be really careful with my power usage. I have to check my battery monitor in the morning before I want to make a smoothie to see if I have enough power to do that. The same goes for water. I have to fill up my water tank probably about once every week and a half. Finding somewhere to do that can be difficult. And then I'm constantly rationing my water all week, like trying to use as little as possible for my dishes or whatever. That's why I hate cleaning my sink so much. Sorry, now I'm getting on a tangent. And same with like my toilet. I have to dump my pee jug pretty much every other day. And if my pee jug is full and I don't have a place to dump it and I really have to pee, that becomes a very uncomfortable situation, as I'm sure you can imagine. And last but certainly not least is the lack of routine. Constantly in a new place, with new surroundings, with access to different things. My whole life changes as my location changes. At first, that's really fun. That's like the whole draw of van life. As you do it for longer and longer and longer, you get to a point where you crave that routine and it's really hard to find. All this being said, I think that it's really getting to me because the plans that I have for the next year, I basically have to be on the road. And so the earliest that I could even think about getting an apartment is next November, which I'm definitely highly considering. I would still keep my van and like travel part-time in it. I just would not be on the road full-time. I've been debating coming on here and talking about it because no one wants to listen to like a complainer and like a negative Nelly, and I do really love my life and I'm so lucky to live it, but I also don't want to come on here and act like everything is perfect all the time and I'm so happy and everyone should do this and there's no negatives. Talking to a lot of friends that have been on the road for a similar amount of time to me, and we're all kind of approaching this place. I didn't really think that I would get here, which is why like I have my whole next year planned out. I'm like, I love living on the road, blah blah blah, planning all this stuff far in advance, and now I'm like, oh my god, I need a break.
I've lived in my car for 11 and a half months, and today is the day that my car broke down. Let's just say it's been a day. I'm very frustrated. This is a problem that could possibly be fixed. I'm not sure. I think it has something to do with the hybrid battery, although I just bought a new battery this year, so it would be kind of frustrating if it already wasn't working. This morning when I went to turn on my car to warm it up, the dashboard lights flickered a couple of times and then everything shut off, and the only thing that was left on was the check engine light and then the airbag light. It was stuck in like a weird middle ground where I could not shut off the car completely and I could not turn it on completely. This is the first car I've ever owned, so I don't really know what's going on. If there are any mechanics that are watching this that specialize in like hybrids or Priuses, please comment down below what you think it is. I'm waiting to hear back to see if my insurance will cover it getting towed to a shop to see if it's even worth fixing. I have been saving up money for quite some time to buy a van, but I was hoping for like a couple of extra months in my car to save up a little extra money so that I have a savings account after I purchase my van, but I'm thinking that I might just have to buy the van sooner than later. And my car has been giving me a lot of issues recently, but this was kind of just the cherry on top, and I don't really know if it's worth fixing, especially if it's going to be a lot of money, since I need that money to put into my van.
Make dinner with me in my van while talking about van life struggles. My first one is I had rice that I had already made, and then since I have a cooler, sometimes food gets ruined, it gets water in it, and this time I had creamer spill all over my cooler, and it got into my rice, so now I have to make more, and I hardly have any left, but this should be enough for like maybe one serving, so let's add a little bit of water to it. Another struggle, not having room for anything, and my coffee spilling everywhere. It's all on the ground. I don't know how I'm gonna clean that up, but I knocked it over, so that's lovely. Real life, van life struggles. Well, that was super fun. Just had to clean up that huge mess that I made. Yeah, living in a van is not fun, honestly, sometimes, and I'm so ready to upgrade. Within the next year I will be selling this van. I'm so sick of living in it, if you can't tell. I'm gonna get an RV with a full-size fridge I can stand up in. I'm gonna have like a private bathroom. It's gonna be like a mansion for me, because I have been living in this van for almost 3 years now. I don't have a full solar setup, I don't have a working sink, I don't have a fridge, I only have a cooler, which ruins my life constantly. So yeah, we are really just trying to upgrade within the next year because I cannot continue doing this. So
it's been 6 weeks of living in my car. Here are some things that I've learned. Unexpected expenses. Like, for example, I spent $85 just on ice. 4 weeks, $85. What do you mean? $3 a bag. Wow. It would be cheaper just to have a fridge. Which brings me to other expenses that you just don't think about initially. At first I thought, oh, a cooler will be fine. No, I need a fridge. But in order to have a fridge, I have to have a power bank. Those are roughly between $300 and $500. And then for this winter, I'm gonna have to have some kind of awning to pull out so that I can cook without getting rained on. To have a heated blanket or some kind of heater for the car. That's like $1,000 worth of stuff. And it's things that if you're just car camping, you don't really need. But if you're going to live in your car full time and do it comfortably, there are a lot of unexpected expenses, and it can get very expensive very quickly. I also learned that sleeping is not like the big to-do that everybody kind of makes it out to be. People have a lot of fear around, oh my gosh, am I going to find a safe place to sleep? There are websites and services now that you can pin safe places to sleep all over different locations. iOverlander is one of them. Also, if you're going to stay in a place long term, like in my general area, I drive around places that I like to frequent and I look for signs. Is there an 8-hour parking sign, a 72-hour parking sign, sometimes near marinas or other, places where people would leave their vehicles longer. There are legal places to park long term. I've yet to be woken up by a cop. So sleeping has been like the lowest anxiety for me. Next is loneliness. So I watch a lot of other content creators that live in their vehicles, either van life, living in their car, and they mention loneliness. And I do agree that it can get lonely, but honestly, I felt pretty lonely whenever I lived in my apartment. The amount of loneliness that I experience is directly related to how much I'm trying to get out of my comfort zone and socialize with others. If I'm out a little mom and pop shop out in the middle of nowhere, you can stop and talk to people, campsites or state parks. The unfortunate thing is that you have to break the ice. It's going to have to be you because the other people aren't going to do it. But I can tell you the majority of times they would like somebody to talk to. So you really choose your loneliness. The thing that I feel like I've learned in the last 6 weeks is how present this kind of forces you to be. By living in your vehicle, you're kind of shrinking all of your possessions down, shrinking your focus on worldly things oftentimes down, left with just what's right in front of you. And it forces you to be very present in your environment in the moment. You appreciate nature more because it becomes your safe haven. You appreciate the meal that you cooked even more as you had to drag everything out to cook it. You know you're gonna have to drag everything back whenever you're done. Also, your water consumption, for example. You appreciate water so much more. Not having running water has made me appreciate and feel just like more present every time I take a shower or every time I get to fill up my water at a state park, something like that. I have such an appreciation for where my water comes from and just having it in general. And those are things that I just didn't fully appreciate until I had this experience. Next realization is that this car is just impossible to keep clean. Like I have to make peace, and anybody that's gonna live in their vehicle has to make peace with that. I was obsessively like going to the vacuums to try to like keep all of the sand and just the dirt, and them were free vacuums, but some of them weren't. And so I was just like, putting quarters. Anyways, I was obsessively trying to keep this thing clean and organized at all times. And I've accepted that as long as it's not dirty, like as long as there's no food, there's no anything out, that it's okay if it's a little bit disorganized. It's a touch disorganized right now, and I want to fix it, but I'm telling myself like, that's not important. So if you have like OCD issues or issues with okay, my last point, community. This is something that I see a lot of other people touch on, that because of that loneliness that I mentioned earlier, that there's this wanting to seek community. And I feel that as well. I've actually looked at 3 different options for this winter. There's something called woofing, I guess is what it's called, where you can stay on somebody's farm for, 2 weeks, a month, whatever you guys work out. And in exchange for you working so many hours a week, you can have access to their facilities, or sometimes even like a place to stay, like a yurt or something like that. I've looked at different eco villages in the Pacific Northwest, considered that, but there's some more research that I need to do there because there's some pretty conflicting things that I've seen about eco villages. Lastly, I've thought about just heading south to California and spending the coldest of the winter months down there and finding more community.
Now, this video is showing the logistics of living in your car, the precautions you need to take, such as finding a safe place to park to sleep at night, the water resources, the power source that you need, all the basic logistics of living in your car and the safety precautions that one needs to take just to get by every day. And then you've seen some of these people's issues, because obviously there's problems when you're living in your car. It's a very restricted lifestyle. So if you enjoyed this video and my others, I appreciate if you share, like, and subscribe, and leave a comment. If you guys know anyone that's lived in their car, if you've lived in your car, let's hear about it. I appreciate your time. I'll see you soon.